But this is real money. So you look at this here. When I first started buying that, that was $1.40.
Yeah.
Today, that's $16. And this here is oro, gold. And the reason we brought it in is most people haven't seen or touched. This is real. This is God's money.
Yeah.
Why did I say it's God's money? Because it was here when the earth was created.
Yeah.
And it'll be here when we're all dead and gone. When you're saving those fake dollars, this will still be here.
Yeah.
Or those fake ETFs or those fake stocks. So this here is called the green box. There's 500 of these little tubes like this.
Wow.
500 coins in here. And this is one, which is worth more.
Which one's worth more? The gold.
Yeah, this is worth more than all that.
Yeah.
Now the reason I say this is because for your generation, this could be the biggest opportunity you'll ever see. I'm not making any commissions on this stuff.
Yeah.
But if you look at what happened with the fake central bank, see the purpose of the central bank or the Fed or all, the Japanese, the Bank of Japan or the European Central Bank, they pump out fake money. The purpose of central banks like the Fed is to protect the banks, not you. They're a criminal operation as far as I'm concerned. You're going to find that most of my talks about the Fed. So I would recommend you guys buy this stuff. Don't save money. Don't save government money because they're corrupt as hell, as you know.
Yeah.
Save God's money. In school, they compensate for risk by telling you to memorize the right answer. So in other words, these kids leave, young people like you, leave school thinking, oh, if I know the right answers, then there's no risk. And it drives old guys like me crazy. Because everybody's talking about millennials. What's wrong with them? Millennials are the most highly educated generation in history. They have the cell phone. They didn't get educated in school. They got educated on social media, on the cell phones. They know all the answers, but they're afraid of doing anything.
Yeah.
The biggest complaint about my generation is millennials know all the answers, but they can't do anything. And the reason they can't do anything is because you might hurt somebody's feelings, you might make a mistake, and that just keeps you guys just trapped in this little box here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I think millennial money is such an important point here, because if you're going to come into my world, old guy's world, or the information age, you've really got to understand what is risky and what is not risky. And in my world, if you play it safe, that makes you stupid. Because if you don't take risks, you don't get smarter.
Yeah.
So you may know the answer, but you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And one of the best things I had is I went to military school, then I went to flight school. I had such great teachers. All of them could fly. So my flight instructor could fly. What a novel idea. A flight instructor can fly. But when I was in high school, most of my teachers were terrified. They're all cowards, job security. Don't make mistakes. Just memorize the right answer and you'll be safe. And that's why most school teachers aren't rich.
Yeah.
They teach that to your generation.
Yeah. And most of them are teaching us things that they don't do on a daily basis. Like we have entrepreneurship classes.
Oh!
And they're not entrepreneurs, So it's kind of frightening when you think we're relying on the school system.
Oh.
And the fact that they're teaching us, so the way to get through college, right, is practicing all the right answers, taking the exam, putting in all the right answers.
Yeah.
When in real life, that's the last thing that'll ever happen, right?
No. Like, you talk about fake, this is my book, Fake here. Fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. The reason it's fake money, fake teachers, and fake assets is because it all has to be fake. You have to have fake teachers to understand fake money. Then you have to have fake assets to buy those stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, fake assets. But without fake teachers, fake money, you can't do it. So that's why I love working with on these programs here. Because if you're going to be successful, you've got to take some risk. Most of the young people your age today, a lot of them want to become entrepreneurs. The problem with this, you have to understand tax. You see, this is all over the world, very little difference. These guys pay 40% of their money in taxes. So they make $1,000, they're going to spend $400 in taxes. These guys that make $1,000, they're going to pay 60% in tax. So our schools are teaching entrepreneurship, but they're not teaching them tax. Okay? And because they're focusing on income. Over here, it's 20% in tax. So they make $1,000, only $200 goes to tax, and these guys, 0%. So the reason financial education isn't working in our school systems is they're teaching financial education for these people and these people, but to really become rich, you have to focus on this side here. And that's the difference between a rich dad and the financial and what they're teaching in school right now. I'd rather be on this side. This side is a lot harder, but in the long run, it's more fun for me. On this side here, it's harder, but you're paying tax constantly. So these guys here are saying tax to rich. Well, these guys don't pay taxes. And as strange as that may seem, and I'm talking about legal, this is all over the world. So that's the big difference here. One last thing, which I think most millennials understand, is, in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I wrote about Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's. And he was teaching at the University of Texas, the MBA program. And Ray asked, and most of the MBAs are going to come out here. So Ray Kroc asked him, he says, what business is McDonald's in? And everybody yelled and said, no, we know you're in hamburgers. And Ray says, no, we're not, McDonald's is not hamburgers. McDonald's is in the business of real estate over here. So you have McDonald's here, and the money McDonald's makes buys the real estate. And that is my formula. This is Rich Dad, I own real estate. I don't hang out here. I'm glad you guys are here, right? And we do our best to make sure you're educated and you have your own businesses and things like this here. But really the formula I follow personally is McDonald's. We have education company that buys real estate, which means we make a lot of money, pay 0 taxes, legally. What does school teach you about money? Nothing. Balancing a checkbook, give me a break. Give me a break. So the other part of it, when you look at this financial statement up here, that's what your banker wants to see. The banker doesn't care about your grades. The banker doesn't care what school you went to. So many people say, oh, my banker won't give me any money. Well, because you don't have one of these. And when you look at most of the politicians today, they don't have one of these either. The U.S. government doesn't have one of these anymore. They stopped doing this because of the U.S. government, the budget is so out of balance, they can't do anything. So that's why, 22 years ago, in 1996, I created the cash flow board game. The purpose of this, so people could teach people what our school systems will never teach you. Never. Because they don't know it. Because evidence is now coming out that the school system was hijacked by the ultra-rich years and years ago to never teach people what I know, what my rich dad taught me. So that's why most of our political leaders are broke. They're poor people. Who makes the most? The politicians, they got paychecks for life, they get benefits for life, and they got all this stuff, but they're doing a horrible job. So you're going to depend upon the government to take care of you. That's crazy. A lot of people don't like Trump, I understand why. But he really understands this stuff. I know, because he's my friend. We wrote 2 books together. This is how the rich think. Even if you hate Trump, and Trump doesn't pay taxes. That's why he doesn't want to show you his tax returns. You gotta be crazy. So they'll never teach you this in school. And there's a reason for it, to keep you working harder and harder and harder. So we created this board game here. As you play it 100 times, your brain will change. Because you're doing something. The game is changing all the time in front of you. It's not invest for the long term in the stock market. I hope it works for you, but markets crash every 10 years. So I like this game a lot better. This is the real game of life here. So the point here is this: people can teach people. Don't expect the government to take care of you. That's ridiculous.